we're here with Cyd West today. Cyd, thank you for coming. We're going to be talking about the deep enrichment experience and how that has affected you and how we know each other and that fun thing. I've known Cyd for how many years?
I think it's been about four or 5 years.
4 or 5. It goes by fast. Our daughters, we met through there, and I've been talking to Cyd about the work for a while, and finally you came and experienced it. So.
Well, I was very curious because I had done in my life a lot of exploring of various different techniques to enrich myself, and everything from breath work to Jinshin and different levels of development. And so as I got to know what Josette was working on, I was curious but maybe a little bit cynical as well, since I had experienced those things and they were pleasant and helpful, but they didn't change my life. So when I did go through my first deep session, which was a 3-hour session, I was pretty surprised because I have to say that it was the most powerful of anything I've ever experienced going through. It took components of things that I've experienced and exponentially added to that. It was like taking a big, powerful push on your development. What I experienced in 3 hours, I still feel, even a couple years later, I still feel the effects of that in terms of clarity, objectivity, the ability to be detached emotionally when I'm dealing with difficult things, the ability to organize my thoughts. It's like it cleaned out a whole bunch of gunk. And one of the things that was hard to explain to my husband what this was. And so I used the analogy of defragging your computer because that he understood. And that was really close to how I experienced it. It was like it cleaned out a whole lot of, I don't know if you call it emotional energy that's been sitting there, that's been kind of blocking my ability to move forward. But it was like it cleaned it out, and it was now gone, resolved, however that might be, very quickly. The other thing that surprised me was the speed, because I think you could go through years of therapy to actually remember half of the things that go through your mind in that 3 hours, and to actually come to resolution on those. So that was a remarkable thing. And the fact that your body's doing it itself, that I didn't really need to talk a lot about it. It just was happening. So coming from healthcare, the implications of that were huge to me, huge.
Yay.
And that's why I'm so glad that Josette has her book coming out so that we can all learn more about where this comes from, what's the theory behind it, how does it work. Because, again, as a healthcare person, I'm a healthcare executive, these things have the potential to change the healing process.
What happens with our body is we're always picking information up all the time and creating a certain image out of that information. Now, if we apply that information to this 3-stage process, then we're able to get insight, we feel euphoric, connected, all the things that we want out of life. But if we don't, and we don't realize that we're not doing that, then that's what all that stuff was just times that you could have had more enrichment in your life during those time frames. And now you have it, and that's the beautiful part, because then you go back and you look at that and it wasn't a bum thing. You love your life experience, and you're really able to enjoy that on a deeper level.
Well, it's interesting. I wish I had met you 20 years earlier, because I think I would have had a smoother ride through some of the things. It doesn't change what you're going to go through in life. It doesn't change, you still have the same family, you still have a job, you still have all these things. But how you perceive those really is shifted. And what I found is I'm getting more out of just every day, just little things. And it doesn't mean that there aren't frustrations, but I feel like I am more capable of managing those and handling them in a way that's appropriate because they're not tying me up.
Absolutely.
And I spent plenty of my young years getting tied up by things and spending a lot of energy that really was probably wasteful. And maybe missing some, what's the word I'm looking for? Ability to savor what's going on right then, being in the moment.
Yeah, it's very interesting because I think that, we look at things so linearly and we feel that we need to do, when in reality the body is where it's all at. The body does it all. I mean, think about, I don't know if you've ever had an anxiety attack or, something where all of a sudden your body just took over and did its own thing other than the deep enrichment session. But we really need to give these bodies more credit, learn how to use them properly, how to take care of them, and to get the most out of it because all the tools are right there inside.
Well, again, if I could go back 20 years, one of the things I did a lot in my 20s and early 30s is I wouldn't even realize when I was getting sick. I would kind of ignore all those little cues to slow down, or the kind of migraines that come from tension back in here. All the clues were there, but I was ignoring them very well. and then your body slams you and says stop. And so, being able to be kind of in a cohesive relationship with my body more rather than ignoring those things. When I get sick less as well.
Sure.
I certainly don't have migraines, which is a big improvement. And again, I pay attention to the cues when they're coming.